there's just certain things that you don't know what to ask for because you've never been in that position. That's the main reason why I the NHSC contract, because that information was not communicated to me through. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Jackie, and over here we talk about faith, lifestyle, and everything in between. I hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am enjoying this series. I hope you're finding it useful, beneficial, and I hope you're learning some things that you didn't know before. So in part 3, today's video, I'm going to be as honest and transparent as possible in regards to my experience with the NHSC, in terms of not to discourage anyone, not to persuade anyone, but just to give the full information and just to give an example of what it actually is like, because like I said, I don't see this on YouTube. I don't see people talking about the experiences. What do I expect? So definitely I want to serve as that point of contact in just sharing my experience in hope of just education and eliminating barrier and ignorance. So yeah, as previously alluded in the first video, I do regret signing my NHSC scholarship, and I only regret it because I had situations that happened to me that were not in my control, or I just did not expect it or planned it and I didn't know what to really do. And I'm going to talk about those 2 situations later on in the video. But generally, yes, I do regret signing the scholarship. I don't want to convey the wrong message, and I don't want to put out misinformation out there. However, just because I did not have the best experience with the scholarship does not mean that someone else will also have that same experience. I think this scholarship is a wonderful opportunity. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why I'm putting out information about it. So I'm not telling y'all about the scholarship that I regret. I'm telling y'all about a scholarship that's good, that I just didn't have the best experience with. And that doesn't mean your experience be my experience. You can have a better experience. The experiences that I go through, the hardships that I go through they're not just for myself to learn from, but they're from other people to learn from, or from other people to be aware of, so that they can know what to look out for, to just know the possibility that that could happen out there. Let's talk about why I applied. I originally applied for the scholarship because, as most of us, we know that there's a high debt burden with coming into professional school, talk less of health professional school, and I did not want to have that burden over my neck. And also, I love serving in underserved. I love volunteering. So regardless, I already had that like servant leader mindset and just like serving people who need the help the most. So that's why I applied. It aligned with my career goals as well as with my financial goals. My experience during school, I don't know if I could say this, but I am terminating my contract. And I can talk about that in another video if you want. So there's that. While I was in the program and while I was receiving support, it was cool. You receive your monthly stipend, they pay for your tuition, whenever your school invoices them the tuition bill. And so let's talk about what it looks like to receive the stipend, and then this is also going to trickle into one of the cons of the scholarship, or just something to think about. So the stipend is like I said in the previous video, about $1,500. I'm not too sure, about $1,500. So that stipend is going to remain the same no matter what city you live in. If you live in Louisiana, if you live in DC, if you live in New York, your stipend is going to be the same amount for everybody. Everybody receives the same amount of stipend. And I say this is a con, depending on the cost of living in the city that you live in, that may or may not be enough for you to survive. You may have to get additional loans, you may have to seek out family help, apply for other scholarships, but like it's not going to be that stipend might not be enough. So to say that you'll be 100% debt free sometimes may not be as accurate, because you may have to get help elsewhere. I know some people in the program, they lived in DC, they had to get extra loans because $1,500 a month was not going to cut it for them a month. It was not going to cut it for them. So that's just something to think about, is the cost of living in the city that you're in. So whether you need to save money, you need to get a side hustle, and also don't forget you're in dental school, or you're in medical school, or you're in nursing school, or whatever. It's not an easy thing. You can't just be working on the side easily. So that's just something to consider and something to think about. Is the stipend even enough for me to live okay? Or like, do I need to get a roommate or 2 roommates to make the stipend enough for me without taking additional loans? So that's just something to think about. For me, I live in the South, so it was a reasonable amount for me. The stipend pretty much covered rent and bills. It didn't really cover food or like extra stuff, so like I had to like pull from like parent gifts, savings, my investments and stuff to like handle that out. And then I did take out a loan my first year. I guess we can talk about that now, actually. I apologize that this video is all over the place. It's so hard for me to like condense like years of experiences and situations into like a cohesive flow. So I apologize if this is like all over the place, but I just want to make sure I don't leave anything out. This is the first reason why I regret the scholarship, is because my school starts in July and I wasn't awarded the scholarship. I didn't sign my contract until August 8th, and I don't believe I received any disbursements until September, because my school had already sent out a bill for tuition in July, and that tuition had to be paid in order for me to continue to enroll in classes. That means I had to take out loans in July. This was before I knew I got the scholarship. This is before I even signed for the scholarship. So because I had already paid for my tuition with the loans, because I had no choice, I didn't know I got the scholarship. I didn't know I was going to get the scholarship. Neither was there enough time, because I had to, make sure my tuition was paid so I could enroll in class. First year dental student, I want to make sure I have everything in line. I don't want no one telling me I owe this or this. So I took out loans out of ignorance and just not knowing I was going to get the scholarship. Again, I'm rambling. And because I took out those loans to pay for my tuition, which I had to do, and because the NHSC didn't notify me that I received the award in like August, September, and that's like what, few months already, you've already paid your tuition with loans. There was, according to my institution, there was no way for them to invoice the NHSC for something that has already been paid. It would be considered an overpayment of funds. And I've been arguing with them about that till today, till this day. I'm still arguing with both the NHSC and my institution about something needs to shake, because there's no way that I signed a 4-year contract and I'm not receiving that total 4 years of support. So pretty much what happened was I took out loans my first year, and I signed, and I'll also be required for a year of service to the NHSC, even though my tuition was not paid. However, I did receive the stipend during my first year. So I received the stipend but not tuition. However, I still have loans from first year, and I'm still required for full-time service for that first year. That's the main reason why I regret the NHSC contract, because that information was not communicated to me through my school or through the scholarship program myself. And that was not a question that I could even think of to ask, because I did not know. There's just certain things that you don't know what to ask for because you've never been in that position, which is why I'm making this video, because I want ask questions. If your school is not going to invoice them, don't sign for that contract. Do not sign for that year of contract that you're not going to be receiving tuition support for. If I could go back, I would not have signed for that year. I would have been like, okay, give it to me next year when my school will invoice you my tuition. That's what I would do if I could do this again. But because I didn't, or the purpose of the scholarship is not being fulfilled because loans are still being taken out, and school is expensive. Interest is real, and interest has been accumulating. So you can just see the burden that it has placed on me. And like I said, I'm still trying to figure things out till today. So that's that. So that's the first reason why I regret the scholarship, is because I just didn't know that. I didn't know what to even ask for. I didn't know that was a thing. And because when you're working in the NHSC, you're not gonna get the same salary as someone who's working in private practice. So I'm already working at a lower salary, and I still have loans on top of someone who is making a higher salary and they have loans. So you just see how it's just the purpose of the scholarship is not really being fulfilled. So that's reason number one, and I'll just jump into reason number two. Reason number two was during my second year of dental school, I had an academic deficiency in a class, and because of that I was placed on academic probation. Though my GPA was okay, but I was placed on academic probation because I had a deficiency in one class, and because of that they took away my stipend for the rest of the semester. So imagine living off of a stipend, expecting money to come in every month to take care of your bills while you're in school, and then suddenly you just don't get any. That direct deposit doesn't hit. That when I realized my direct deposit is not hitting, I was like, why could this be? And oh yeah, because you're on academic probation for that class. And I was like, what am I gonna do? The way I had to deplete my savings, I was not about to take out loans. I depleted my savings. I was like, oh my gosh. And the thing is, this was I think this is in the contract probably, but some things you don't realize it until you actually go through it. And I was like, wow, okay. So I regret it for that reason, because I struggled. And yes, I will still be accountable for that year of service because they partially supported me up into the academic deficiency. But yeah, I'm still required for that year of service even though I didn't receive full financial support. So I'm not even going to justify or go into a deep dive of why whatever happened. Just know that personal life interfered with academics, and it was just a lot. Every semester, every couple of months, you're required to do an in-school verification, and that in-school verification needs to be completed. You have to submit your transcript if needed, and then the school official has to just go through it and approve it and then send it back to the NHSC. They do that to see your grades, see if you're good in standing, and to see like how many, like what classes you're taking, are you taking any classes, and just see like they just really want to verify your academics pretty much. So it could kind of seem a little bit micromanaging, because I would just be so annoyed. Like I would always have to like submit an in-school verification. And from what I heard from people who are working with the NHSC after graduation, you still do that when you work. Like when you're working, you still have to do like an employment verification. They need to know how many hours you're working, how many sick days you're taking off. So like it's a micromanagement. Like as long as you're under service with them, they want to know your whereabouts, which is valid. Very valid. You know, they want their documentation. They want to make sure they know where their money is going. They want to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So totally get that. But again, that's just something to think about. I can only speak to my experience as I'm still in school. I cannot speak to an experience post-graduation when you're actually working for your service commitment or service years. I can only speak to this in-school experience because I'm in school. But I do, hopefully in a few years, I'm able to show you guys, because I do have 2 years that I have to serve. I'm terminating my 4-year contract into a 2-year contract. So instead of serving 4, I'm gonna just serve 2 years. So for those 2 years, I plan to show what it looks like, how it actually is, like what the patient pool is like, what it's like working in a HPSA, what the pay is like, the benefits, the pros and cons. I look forward to showing that and sharing that journey with you guys, but that's just something I can't really speak to right now because your girl is still in school. But also like finding jobs is something that I'll be thinking about in the near future. So like looking for like jobs that I align with. To wrap things up, I personally regret it because of the experiences that I went through. However, I don't think it's a bad scholarship. I think it's a great scholarship, but you need to be well informed on what it is that you're doing. You need to go through the contract, maybe have a lawyer or someone who has a legal background go through the contract and then discuss all the stipulations, the what ifs, and all that stuff. Ask questions before you sign the contract. I think I was very naive in signing it. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited. I would tell some people like, oh my god, that's such good news. And I'm like, I was signing it. I didn't even think about it. I thought about it for a little bit. I prayed about it for a little bit, but I didn't sit on it. And granted, you don't have that much time to like think about it. You have to like submit the sign a contract within a specific time frame. So I would definitely gather all your information, and then when you are in school, to stay on your P's and Q's, ask questions, be in communication with your financial aid department, with everything. Like just, it's a commitment. It's not for everyone, but if it is for you, it's a blessing. I definitely think of this program as like a sacrifice. Like they call it service obligation. I think it's not the end of the world. Yes, I have loans for years that I should not have loans on, but it's like, it's not the end of the world. Like we still get to serve people. We still get to make a difference and impact in people's lives. And I know finances can be such a tricky thing and such an annoying thing to worry about, but at the end of the day, like whether you are in the scholarship or not, remember your why for the career that you're in and try not to look at the dollar signs. I know we can't separate money from it, but try not to look at the dollar signs because it just makes the journey a lot harder and just more burdensome. But I do remember like when I first got the scholarship, I was so excited. I was so happy. And I wish I could have that same joy again. I just don't have it anymore. And like I said, I just realized that the scholarship is not for me. So I think that it's important to note that who you are at the beginning of your journey, you might not be the same person that you are. Like, do I still have the same heart and passion for service? I don't think I'm the same person I once was when I first applied for this scholarship. But I think my goals overall, like long term, have changed, and I just don't like the idea of signing a contract for my future self. I feel like I'm constantly changing. So it's like I don't want to make a promise that 2023 Jackie made when 2026 Jackie is like in a different mindset. I really hope I was able to cover everything on my experience and just what I've been through. This is my second time filming this video. The first time was like all over the place, and I do have to go to class soon. I'm filming this in my lunch break. See, and if I didn't answer any questions, please let me know in the comments, or you can DM me on TikTok, Instagram, in the comments, whatever. Like, I just want to make sure everyone has as much information, and if y'all could learn from my struggles, and if y'all can learn from my mistakes, then at least my mistakes are doing something. At least we're doing something. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.